Welcome again to Once Upon a Mormon, a podcast where we explore our lives and memories from our time in the Mormon Church. A warning to those listening, the contents of our podcast may contain discussions that are stressful or triggering to those who have experienced similar situations. It also reveals informations and practices that are kept secret by the church, such as temple ceremonies and abuse. Please reach out to us if you have any concerns at onceuponamormon@gmail.com. We acknowledge that some small audio clips of Mormon general authorities have been used in the production under the Australian Fair Use Copyright Act. These recordings are all available publicly from the church and are used for the purpose of criticism and review. We hope you enjoy our podcast and thank you for listening.
I believe the church is in better condition than it has been at any time in its entire history. My beloved brethren and sisters,
welcome to Once Upon a Mormon,
another testament of religious abuse.
So many have been hurt. Persecutions may rage, mobs may combine.
whom shall we go?
Sown in corruption. We need you.
Never again.
Alright guys, so picking up from where we left off on our last episode, this is part 2 of our missions episode. Where were we? We were talking about how you guys had prepared for a mission and like what it was like receiving your mission calls and stuff. So now I guess we're just going to talk about like what your experience was on a Mormon church mission. So I guess after you got your mission call, what happened next?
Basically, there was a whole lot of other paperwork, and like for me, I had to go onto this special website for people that were called and like do prior training.
Wait, so was it like the same sort of stuff that you covered in mission prep classes, or was it different?
It's going back some time. I'm pretty sure it was different. It was like, how to deal with this situation, and then like training like how to drive the cars properly. Like you need your companion to stand outside the car while you're reversing, kind of shit.
Yeah, from memory, it was a lot of like procedure stuff. All right, this is how we're going to operate. I mean, you really got to spell it out.
Work and method statements.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and the funny thing is, you're looking at a bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
So you got to really spell everything out.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much just continuing working and then organising everything that I needed, like all my clothes, shoes, toiletries, packing, and sorting out like with my job and preparing to go through the temple when we were going to do that, and that whole situation. It was a very busy time of my life where on top of working 6 days a week, I was also having to do so much more work on top of that, so I was dead inside.
Well, and we haven't really talked about it too much yet, but like the whole temple stuff. So like before you go on a mission, like only endowed members of the church can serve missions. So
that's right,
like in terms of ordinances of the church, like the endowment ceremony is sort of probably the most culty, and you know, like you do it before you're able to get married, and you have to do it, I guess, before you go on a mission. So that would have been like, I mean, that's an experience that we'll get to talk about later, but just preparing for that and going through that experience would have been big at the time. What about you, Brother Hiram?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. You get your mission call, and then you've been doing mission prep and temple prep, and then they send you for myself. I got a booklet. I think there might have been some online stuff, but I got a big booklet with specific information for my mission, and they give you everything down to a list of what to pack. Pack this many sets of clothes, pack this and this and this.
Well, that's handy.
And so they give you all of the information you need, and you get a map of your mission area, and you get your mission president stuff. Your mission president send you a letter, and so that's pretty much it. You just in that limbo stage where you've done mission prep, you've prepared, you've ticked all the boxes. Now you got to get your visa. Now it's time to get the visa. Now you know where you're going.
Yeah.
You have to go through that process. Like I had to get my wisdom teeth done. All the vaccinations and everything up to date, passports, that type of thing. That takes time, and so there's a few months between when you get your call and when you're expected to go.
Yeah.
And during that period, you're getting that organised. So there isn't a lot happening until you really fly out and go to the MTC.
Yeah. Right. So that brings us to the MTC. What is the MTC, and how long are you there, and what happens at the MTC?
Yeah, so MTC stands for Missionary Training Center. So it's basically...
So on top of all of the training and preparation that you've already done,
you need to go do more training and preparation. But yeah, basically, so I went to the New Zealand MTC. That's in South Auckland, I believe I was. I had no idea. I was exhausted and... yeah, ready for a big nap. But yeah, I remember getting to the MTC, and it's basically a big building. We weren't allowed outside except for the allocated half hour or an hour exercise time.
Jeez, so basically prison.
Pretty much. It's a prison for like 18 to however old you are, missionaries. Yeah, I hated every single moment of it, except for my companions who were like my only joy in the MTC.
Yeah. We were just having a look before at some of the emails that we had exchanged while you were on your mission, and I was asking about the MTC, and like it honestly does sound like prison. Like you were saying that the food was shit. Like
literally, we had rice and dry chicken drumsticks every single night. And when I say every single night, I mean like every single night. But yeah, my mission intake, we were only there for 1 week. We were supposed to be there for 2, but apparently there was like something that came up and they had to change it all around, so I only got 1 week.
Well, that's not so bad.
You got ripped off.
Yeah, well, like they had to like rush everything into the 1 week, so literally we would wake up, do our, get ready for the day, go have breakfast, and then just go straight to classes and be there until like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, except for our lunch break and our exercise time was the only time we were allowed out, and we weren't allowed back to our rooms. But basically prison.
Yeah, right. It was so the classes were just like more of the same sort of like, these are the discussions and role plays sort of stuff, and just teaching you how to teach people. Yeah,
reading, preach my gospel. But yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, my MTC experience was very eye-opening for me, because that was when I actually realized half the stuff that we believe, and it was just like everybody talks about like the MTC is like a revelation. Like it shouldn't be, but it is of like a revelation. Like, oh my god, like we actually believe this is what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And yeah, I just remember it like being like, well, I maybe should have known this before I signed up to do this for 18 months. I was like, okay, I have made a mistake, but I'm here now, so let's go. Yeah.
Wow. What about you? What was your MTC experience like?
Well,
where did you... Was there one in London?
So it's not in London, it's in Manchester.
Okay.
And so there's a temple up there, and they've all got it in the same grounds. So I flew, I just got off a plane after nearly 24 hours of travelling.
Yeah.
And so get into the MTC in Manchester, and they're like, all right, it's about 10 o'clock now. Got to be up at 6:30, by the way.
Oh, nice.
You start first thing in the morning, and then so they give you a companion, and you have that same companion through the Missionary Training Centre.
Okay.
Mine was 2 weeks. So I got the full 2 weeks. It was a little bit... I don't remember everything. I'll have to go through my journal. But it was so quick. It was just over in the blink of an eye. A lot of it is just intensive training. You're going through the lessons. You're teaching each other to practice the lessons. I remember we went through the temple a couple of times because it was on the grounds. And we got to go into town once to do a little bit of shopping. It's like
that was fun.
Yeah. It's like going to Hogsmeade.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty much it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Wait, so they did release you to go shopping?
1 day for like 3 hours.
It's not long. And you cannot miss the bus.
Yeah.
So you get to go out.
Okay.
So for us, we got to exercise out in the grounds. They had footy fields and stuff.
Yes.
It was pretty big grounds, and it was very private because it was church grounds. And we got to walk through the temple gardens every now and then. And at the time, actually, while we were there, they had this big church history, like, musical type thing on. So they had the big tent set up, and we ended up being part of it.
Oh, really? That's fun.
Yeah,
Just like, while you guys are here,
that's it.
be part of this thing.
Pretty much. Well, it was about the church coming to England,
right?
And the early days, and then the modern missionaries, and so we came in right at the end. We didn't get to see any of the show, but we came right at the end as today's modern missionaries, and they didn't want to get any more actors, so they just got all the missionaries to walk in. And then we walked in, stood up there, and sung a song, and then it was over, and we walked off.
Cool.
So it was okay. I didn't mind the MTC. It was pretty chill. Food was shit.
Yeah.
It's church.
Yeah.
I didn't actually realise this, but I'm pretty sure most of the people at the MTC get paid to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Like all the teachers, it's their job to teach at the MTC because they do it full time.
Yeah.
And you start to learn those things as you go on, and you're like, I didn't realise the church did this type of stuff. I thought it was just all for goodwill. And like yourself, I started finding out a few little bits of doctrine, and then I knew a lot of it in the background, but I didn't consciously know it. And I'm like, I've got to teach this. This is weird.
Yeah, well, because I think like when you're put in a position where you have to teach people who haven't had any exposure to the church before, like, you have no idea what kind of questions they're going to throw at you. So I guess they need to make sure the missionaries are prepared to answer any questions. So you've got to be on top of the doctrine and stuff, so you're not sharing false information. Though all of it's false, so we didn't know at the time, but
hindsight.
So I guess coming out of the MTC then, and then going into your mission field.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, what was that like? What was it like, being with your trainers and stuff like that? How was that sort of initial like phase in settling into the mission and stuff? How was that? What experiences did you have?
So my experience was pretty terrifying going from the MTC to the mission field. I was the only missionary going to this particular area in Australia. I had never been on a plane before, like, by myself. Like, obviously the plane to the MTC, my parents were there, showed me everything, and then going from the MTC to this area in Australia, I had to get like 3 different flights, and I was so stressed out. Never done this before in my life. I was freaking out. Almost ended up on a plane to Singapore, and the lady was like, "This is not the right area." I was just so confused and lost. And then,
I don't know. Maybe the Holy Ghost was trying to, lead you to Singapore.
My new area.
I remember getting off the plane in this area in Perth and seeing my mission president, who is not a small man. He is very tall, and he had you have one of those signs out that's just like, Sister May. No, he had his the assistants to the president, who were both big Polynesian guys, and they were all in their suits. I was like so out of everything. I just saw them and I just walked up to them and I was like, "Hi."
So this small white girl just goes up to this big Samoan dudes in suits, and you're just like, looks like I'm being kidnapped. The Samoan mafia.
Pretty much. And it was just terrifying, and he just walked so fast, like, you're gonna have to keep up with me because I walk really fast, and my little legs going beside me. Okay. But once we got to the mission home, it was okay. It was very, big shock, big change to everything. But and then the next day, I believe, I met my trainer, who gave me so much trauma. Oh my God. But that was the whole thing. So we had 2 days of training in a classroom setting.
God, more training.
With the mission president, so that was more
role-playing.
And I remember being like, I've done role-playing, I know what I'm doing, and so I started the role-playing, and she was so, I don't want to say rude, but just so abrupt with me, and I just remember wanting to cry because I just felt so belittled and like I was